Tube, what it do? Your boy Josh coming back. Mm, challenged. I'm gonna say challenged. Dealing with cancer, dealing with getting fired, dealing with Japan being very difficult to save for and move to. So much I want to tell y'all, but let me start at the top. So on June 24th, my dad was going into surgery for prostate cancer. Now, this is not one of the most serious cancers at all. The surgery is supposed to take like 30 minutes or so, and it's supposed to be all good. Well, his took 7 hours. And when he got out, extreme pain. You could see it on his face. And at that time, I was doing good at work. But as taking care of him progressed and his recovery progressed, everybody takes to this stuff differently, takes to the medicine differently. I'm starting to see him kind of degrade like slowly in front of my eyes. Now, as the oldest, I kind of felt like, this is my responsibility. However, balancing that and work was just very, 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 very difficult. And that's what it ended up being, just a difficult time. And I talked to my job about it. Sometimes I was crying in my one-on-ones. I was trying not to. I was very difficult, very difficult. I was very sad, bro. Um, they call it like a caring fatigue, or I forgot what it's called, but some lady told me about the fatigue of caring for other people versus caring for yourself. And at that time, I had fell off my workout routine. I fell off my gaming routine, my content routine. I fell off a lot of stuff, bro. And during that time, it was very difficult, man. So because I was having a difficult time, I wasn't really handling calls the way my job wanted me to handle calls. And it wasn't saying I wasn't making sales, because I definitely was. I was definitely getting close wins and, getting people to the table to have meetings with us. That was something I was 100% doing. I was actually doing pretty well. I'm not going to lie. By any metric, I was doing very, 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 very solid. However, they just put me on a performance plan. Now, if you don't know what a PIP, that's what it's short for, performance improvement plan. If you don't know what that is, they're essentially trying to fire you. And that's kind of where it was for me. I'm dealing with my dad's stuff. I had taken half the month off, and I had also taken some unpaid time off just to go deal with things when my dad was having setbacks. He was having setbacks, and he had other things going on. So I was dealing with all that stuff, and man, it is just hard. It was just hard, bro. It was very difficult. I was kind of like depressed. I talked to my friends about it. They had my back. I didn't realize it was such a common thing for real. I got friends whose dads were also dealing with the same issue, and they were having the same kind of feelings that I was having. So being at this job where I got to be upbeat all day, where I have to be positive all day, it was very hard to do that, bro. I mean, it was super hard to do that. And I would get personal with the clients, and they would have stuff going on, and we would talk about that and actually bond as humans, but that's not what they liked. However, hey, look, in August, it was cool. I was on my performance plan from July 21st, and in August, they were just like, yeah, you got to use work as an outlet, which I really didn't understand. It's like, bro, work in sales is never an outlet. I don't care what nobody says. Like, bro, that's not a freaking outlet. So I already knew what kind of timing they was on. As soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, okay. So then they started grading my calls. They would grade 1 minute calls, a one, a two, and for my performance plan, I needed to average a four on my calls and how I handle them. Now, the only way to have a perfect call is to guess what? Book a meeting. So I had to average a booked meeting. And if you know anything about sales, that is the hardest part, booking a meeting. So even if I handle my calls correctly, I would still have to book all the meetings. I can't average a booked meeting. Nobody is going to average a booked meeting if you're making 100 calls a day. You got to think about that objectively. How can anybody do that? How can I average this? And so I saw what they were doing, pull up my calls that were like 1 minute, 2 minutes. And I'm just like, hey, why are y'all doing this? They said, oh, well, you know, we just pull random calls. And because we're pulling random calls, if you don't get to the whole part of the call, guess what? Everything else gets rated a zero. So there are 7 parts to a call that we use. Every other part gets rated a zero because I didn't get to it. because they're randomly pulling 1 minute calls. And I thought to myself, like, bro, at this point, I'm packed up. So I started saving. I started saving. I started just going through the motions because it was obvious that in this hard time, they didn't really care that my dad was dealing with cancer. They didn't care about none of that stuff, actually. And on top of that, they took away 60% of our business because they decided they wanted to change our target demographic. It was just all going against me. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm not supposed to be here. And so when the day came, they fired me. And I was ready for it. And I didn't care. And I'm still waiting on my last bonus paycheck. You know, because at the end of the day, I was getting the numbers I needed to get, but I wasn't doing it the way that they wanted me to do it. And, you know, it just is what it is. I'm just a little more insight about my job, bro. Our team went from 11 to 3. These people did not know what they were doing, in my opinion. And maybe I'm not that smart, bro. Maybe I'm not that wrong. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but that's just what it looked like for me, bro. So that's been why I've been falling off of the content, and it's been very difficult. And so I was thinking about, well, how can I add value to this community, and how can I get to Japan while doing the same thing? And I think what I'm gonna do is, because a lot of people hit me up like, hey, what do you think about my plan to move to Japan? What do you think about my plan to vacation in Japan? And I'm thinking like, bro, I don't know. So I'm developing something so that you can rate your own plan. You need to understand everything that I understand, and I can give it to you for a price, obviously. But my whole goal with the channel is gonna continue to be to get to Japan, bro. Like I want to see that so bad. I want to get to Japan and live there so bad, but it's just so expensive, bro. Like I'm looking at about $30,000, and that's for living in Japan, and that's a lot of money to move. So I have to monetize something. You know what I'm saying? So if I can help you plan, if I can consult with y'all, if I can do something like that, I'm gonna do it. If I'm gonna come out with this guide, I'll give it to some people for free just to kind of test it out, see what is, see if it's actually helpful. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna start slanging that because I really feel like if you want to live the life I want to live, we can all do it, but you got to have a really good plan. So since being fired, that's what I've been working on. I've been working on that, working on content ideas, working on my Japanese language skills. It's a lot, bro. It's so much. It is really so much. So a lot on my plate, but I'm not trying to be a 34-year-old loser. And getting fired makes me feel that way. It makes me feel like, dang, bro, like I have such a high mountain to climb. It's like climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, bro. Mount Everest. It's like climbing Mount Fuji. Like this is such. It's gonna take such a long time. I'm gonna have to save for so long, bro. And I just gotta accelerate that if I can. But I'm trying to avoid being a 34-year-old loser. I feel like I'm running out of time. That's what I feel like. I don't have a college degree. I do have skills, but not like a paper saying that I have that skill. Like I don't have a paper saying this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I have to really think very hard about like what am I passionate about? And I share my passion on here. I'm passionate about moving to Japan. I'm passionate about improving myself. You know, I'm passionate about a lot of stuff, bro. But those are the main two things. Japan, improving myself. And once I get to Japan, I want to do everything. I had so much fun there. I know what it's like to kind of live there. Not like full time. Like, I know they say that you get the honeymoon phase. Maybe not full time. Not yet. But I'm looking forward to going there and being a student of the Japanese language. I'm looking forward to, being there for 2 years and figuring out how am I going to stay there. That's going to be so fun because I know that I can do it, whether that's me being married, whether that's me having a business where I'm helping other people coach in Japan, where I'm helping people find apartments. Like I want to do so much because I want this channel to be about like that lifestyle. But right now, it's going to be short talks and it's going to be motivational stuff, kind of just talking about my life. And, if you're in the same situation and you're unhappy with where you are, it's not the end, but it does feel hopeless sometimes, bro. I'm not going to lie. And older people always tell you, oh, you got plenty of time, you still young, da da da. But I'm not getting the benefit of the doubt no more. I tell people, oh, yeah, stay at home. What am I doing? You know, when I was 21, I didn't think I was going to be here at 34. You know what I'm saying? And next year I'll be 35. And it just gives me so much anxiety, bro. It gives me so much anxiety. And I've enjoyed my life, you know, and that's the thing. It's like I've enjoyed all the side quests, but now I have to focus on the main quest, which is gonna be stability for the future and moving to Japan. And I didn't even know I wanted to do this until this year, and I just feel so behind, man. Like I look at my younger friends, bro. You know, they're engineers, they're solutions architects, they're producers. They got all of this stuff going on, and it really just makes me feel like, dang, I'm not doing enough, man. I always feel like I'm not doing enough. So I gotta commit to something, bro. I'm just gonna commit to the self improvement and moving to Japan. And if I can give y'all value on this channel, I'm gonna 100% do it. So if you're somebody that wants to move to Japan, you don't have a degree, that's no problem. I can give you the roadmap. I will be giving you the roadmap at some point. But until then, you know, I guess that's just what it is. You know, let's see where the content creation goes. I'm not just gambling on this, I'm not gambling my life on it, but I'm definitely gonna like have this, you know, in the ether. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just gonna stay consistent. You know, I'm gonna stay consistent with the workouts. I'm gonna stay consistent with, you know, making this content for y'all, short talks and just little things that I think about, like philosophy. I'm gonna give y'all that, man, and let's see where it goes, bro. But I appreciate everybody that's been here. I appreciate you, especially Trey. You really helped me a lot, even though we didn't talk that much. He helped me a lot, bro. Um, what else? Who else can I shout out? You know, shout out to my friends, shout out to my sister, shout out to my like dad, shout out to everybody that's been supporting the channel, man. It means a lot for real. And yeah, I'm back. So let's get it.